everything shared during zone relates back to us as individuals. I was listening to Dato Sri and I wanted to sort of give you something to think about. Now I realized something and I want you to think about this. Alright? We at some point stopped learning about life. We sort of sail through it, you know. That many of us, after leaving high school or university, never actually had a mentor or somebody who was interested in our growth. I realized myself that once we leave university or high school, alright, we actually don't have anyone to guide us, you know, about life. Our parents are more concerned about your health, whether you get married or whether you have children. Are you guys with me or not? But we rarely are exposed to a concept of a real mentor. Somebody who's interested in our growth. And networkers, don't be fooled. Just because you have an upline doesn't mean the upline is interested in you growing. Your upline may be more interested in the BV under you growing. Are you guys with me or not? Alright? So it's very interesting that we are all in a very interesting but lucky situation where we have people like Japa, Dato Sri Vijay, who are genuinely interested in teaching us something and making us realize a little bit more about ourselves. And they used to spend hours, guys, hours with us until 3, 4 in the morning. And coming back to yesterday's 2 key points, I am, I want. So first I want something for food for thought for you, for your mentoring session. This thing I am, alright, which Japa beautifully touched. We really don't know who we are anymore. Do you realize that? That we don't spend enough time of self-honesty. We have created our own understanding of who we are. Alright? And the biggest mistake you have, who you are in reality, is very dependent on who you are surrounded by. If you are surrounded by people who will never tell you what they see, instead reaffirm what you see of yourself, that's very dangerous, you know. For the networkers, due to the golden rule of edification, alright, it is very difficult to have an honest conversation with your upline until it reaches a breaking point. You understand? Only when it reaches a breaking point, you snap. And when you snap, it destroys the relationship because you are doing it under some level of emotional outbursts. But if you could convey the truth about the people you work with in a conversation with trespass, people can change. People will receive the truth. Alright? They will resist. But the minute you put emotion, it will never be accepted. And the question I want to put forward to you to think for a while, do you really know who you are? That means if we did an exercise for you to write down 10 of your greatest strengths, 10 of your greatest strengths, okay, what you see in yourself, your strength, your positive characteristics, right? Because we talk about character. You would write it down with a smile on your face. You know, this is called network confidence. Think positive. Then we do a process where you have to write down 10 of your character flaws or fundamental weaknesses of your character. Oh, that may not be easy to write. And if you write it too easily, my opinion is no longer the truth. You are managing perception. The purpose of a mentor and why Dato Sri, my relationship with Dato Sri Vijay is so important, because I'm running out of people who will tell me the truth. To me, having a mentor who you surrender to, alright, who has no qualms telling you the truth to your face, is a very valuable thing. But the mentor cannot come to you in a position of power. The mentor's relationship with you must actually be based on love and respect. So the first question that you should discuss with your mentors today is, how do you find out who you really are? Because I think you really want to know who you are. Alright, so how? What is the formula? I want you to think about this. I want you to think of a formula that you can apply to yourself. Because what we believe may not be the truth about ourselves. Right? That's the first thought process I want to put into your mind, that you have lost touch with who you really are for a very long time. Alright? And I'll tell you out of my personal experience, when I am out of Dato zone, alright, I start to believe a different Patman is the real Patman. You understand? I have my own version when I'm out of Dato zone. Then when I come to Dato zone, there are a lot of things which I have misinterpreted about myself, you know. You understand now? That's why it's so important to stay in somebody's zone. And the key word here, which Dato Sri always uses, is seek. S-E-E-K. 100% against human nature. Seeking. Right? And very interesting, I'll tell you a lesson Dato Sri was hammering me. I went to him for about 5 questions. 5 things I was seeking from him one day on a call. And he said, Patman, this looks like very simple things that Patman himself can decide. So you don't have to come to me for everything. So I said, but Anne, I want to seek. He said, no. Come to me when you are absolutely sure your decision is right. Alright? Come and seek for me when you are 100% willing to bet all your money that you make the right decision. If you are unsure about your decision, alright, you are not certain, most probably you don't need an independent point of reference. No, you saw the contradiction. You understand? Usually you want to seek when you are unsure about your decision. But Dato Sri said, it's more important to seek, Kavita, when you are 100% sure of your decision. Seeking today is against human nature. Now, many people seek for perception. You know this perception management? Are you seeking enough? Second question. Right? Is it in your nature to seek? And seeking requires humility, you know. Like Japa said, you have to strip off all your jackets, your title, V partner. What does it mean ultimately? What does a V partner mean? A V partner means that Dato Sri is your mentor. Dato Sri is far more your mentor than a V counsel. That's how I would define V partner, AVP and VC. Alright? That would be the definition. You understand? So if you carry a title and you are not closer to the source of mentorship, then that title will destroy you. Seeking is something which I had great struggle with. When I was younger, I thought seeking makes me lesser of a it hurts your ego. You understand? Because some of us feel that you are an independent man. Why should you seek? You understand or not? But are you seeking enough? And next is I want. Dato Sri spoke about I want. And he related it back to this growing 1%. Now I know all of you came back with the realization that, yes, I know now, I have to grow 1%. Guys, it is the most freaking difficult thing to do. Do you realize this? It's a daunting goal to grow. Grow, 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 grow. What does it mean? It's difficult, right? Have you identified your area of growth? What are you focused on? How many of you agree that there is such a thing of always being right? Alright? It could be only true in your own thinking. What if you think you're always right? Alright? Then the only way to verify that is to consistently seek when you think you're right, Ali. Because that statement alone could be perceived as arrogance. Let me just share one thing I learned the other day, alright, speaking to Dato Sri Vijay. Dato Sri Vijay said, ultimately we are all a brand. Correct? You know what a brand is, right? Nike. Nike is a brand. Yeah, Nike spends billions of dollars on their brand. Each of us here has a brand. Everyone has a brand, right? Okay? Now, who is responsible for your brand? Is it your marketing team or yourself? You are responsible for your brand. So let me give you a perfect example of how a brand changed. You know VP Padma, right? Padma, her old brand before 2008, alright, Padma had a brand. Okay, Padma's brand was the most aggressive, alright, no nonsense. Padma was a no nonsense, alright, very direct, correct, Nasib? Okay? That was Padma's brand. She is until today one of the strongest women networkers we ever had. And Padma, after 2008, after a personal experience, alright, what she went through personally, totally rebranded herself. Alright, she rebranded. That means she understood who I am. And after 2008, Padma rebranded herself. Alright, because she realized her old brand, alright, was no longer effective in the current environment. So if your brand does not evolve, you lose your audience. So your brand, is it effective? Does your brand still carry a value proposition? You understand or not? So who I am is a discovery, a self-discovery. But you cannot do this journey on your own, you need people. The problem is, we are all running out of people who really give us honest feedback. True? So, like what Japa says, bring down the wall and invite more people in. And Dato Sri Vijay said, oh Padman, it's amazing how you empowered everyone to destroy your day. Instead of taking it as positive feedback, alright, and don't let your emotions get in the way. When your emotions get in the way, do you learn anything? No. You disintegrate further. Trespass, relationship, all of this matters, but still the deciding factor is the receiver and their ego. Do you know Dato Sri Vijay? How many of you communicate with Dato Sri Vijay on a daily basis? Where are the QI directors? QI directors, put up your hand. Can we say anything to Dato Sri? Can you imagine? You can ask the QI directors personally. You can say anything to Dato Sri. You can give him feedback. You can disagree with him. You can give him criticism. He is the most recipient, and he's a mentor, he's the ultimate mentor in our lives, and he has no walls. Do you realize that, guys? Dato Sri has no walls. And I'm amazed, And guys, that's a benchmark one day we all aspire to achieve. But you should start in a smaller way. You need a formula. What would be the possible mechanism? Nothing written in stone. What would be the possible mechanism that we could apply in life to help us know who we really are? Number one, I am. Number two, to achieve what you want is directly related to your personal growth. Alright, now somebody sent me a message, Chief, but I know people who are maxing out who have not necessarily grown. My answer is very simple. Alright, that means there are people on their left and right who have chosen to grow. They have not chosen to grow. Now what it means to that person is they may still make the money, but they no longer have a value proposition to their downlines. And this is when they become a story, no longer a lesson. Do you understand? They become just a story you hear in the background. But if you want to remain relevant, if you want to max out the second tracking center and the third tracking center, you cannot remain an iconic story. You have to provide value proposition. Your value proposition always decides whether people follow you. Your value proposition drops, alright, less people follow you. Think about it logically. Your network grows when you become a better leader to add value to your network's organization. How do I know whether my value proposition is increasing? Alright, for a networker there is a very easy measuring stick. The measuring stick is the growth from every aspect, the check, the BVs, the leadership quality, the training of the people who interact with you. Alright, the people in your zone, their growth. You have 10 people you are mentoring. If those people do not grow, two possibilities. All 10 are full cups, or your value proposition has dropped. You are not reinventing yourself to reach these people. You cannot protect your edification with everyone. Then you die in isolation. There must be a group of people who are willing to speak. Alright? Small group. We all need that small group. I want you to put this in your thought. I just want to put some things to provoke some thought process. I hope it added some value what I said.